Peter, how do we disrupt dysfunctional patterns?
Wow, Keith, that is such a great question, especially in the realm of divorce. So the best way that we can interrupt patterns that are dysfunctional, that are disempowering, that are not serving us or others, first you have to recognize that you're stuck in a pattern. And this tends to be a reactive pattern in the realm of divorce. So maybe it's reacting with anger. So once you recognize the pattern you want to disrupt. So for me, my personal example was I got caught up in reacting with anger pretty consistently. And then, so did the ex, and it just became a terrible vicious cycle. So once I recognized that, and write, when you go through this exercise, definitely write it down. But then you want to think about what's the new pattern that you want to replace it with. The next step is to, when you find yourself caught up in a specific pattern, like if I find myself about to react with anger in any situation, I need to come up with a way to interrupt that pattern. So for me, it could just be going, ay caramba, just change your energy. Get out of that state where you're about to go into the old pattern. For me, that reacting with anger. And then the third step is to come up with what's called, and this is all about neuroassociations, and this comes from Tony Robbins. I'm actually going through one of his programs right now, and I have 10 pages of work regarding neuroassociations.
Wow.
But you want to come up with a new association to the change that you want to create. So let's say for me, well, first of all, do you have any questions at this point or any comments, Keith?
The first question that comes to my mind is it's not just divorced people that get involved in patterns, but people that are still married get into patterns too.
Anybody, everybody gets into patterns. Absolutely.
Yes.
Could be in the workplace, could be at home, whatever part of your life.
I can picture some people probably take old patterns into new relationships.
Absolutely. So for me, the pattern I wanted to change was the reacting with anger when I was being triggered, which usually, of course, had to do with a fear of being triggered. So I recognized the pattern, I recognized the fear, I interrupt the pattern, and then the new association, let's say I wanted to be calm and moving forward. So the new association could have something to do with, wow, I am creating peace for my kids. I am setting a good, positive, empowering example for my kids, because everything we do and say as parents teaches and impacts our kids. And it can also teach and impact others in our lives. So as you go through, you come up with a list of new associations so you can start to create it. So a quick review, you need to recognize that you're stuck in a pattern that's disempowering, dysfunctional, creating negative energy, impacting others in negative ways. Figure out what the new pattern is that you want to come up with. Come up with a list of 4 or 5 ways to interrupt that pattern. And that could be a change, a shift in focus, a change in your physical state, a change in your language, whatever it might be. And then the final step is to come up with new associations, neuroassociations for the change you want to create. So my challenge to each and every one of you is to write down and go through each of those 4 steps for one pattern that you want to change, that you need to change.
I accept this challenge, Peter. I can see this is a challenge anyone can accept. Anyone watching today can accept your challenge. I accept.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you, Keith. Always good being here with you. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. See you next week, Peter.
Take care.